Hello, Ivor Chester here, music therapist and balance coach. Thank you for your time. Today I got woke up by my wife at the dinner table. That's kind of where I wake up, and you stagger around the house for a while, then you get caffeinated, and then you find yourself awake somewhere in the middle of some kind of task, be it taking the dogs out or whatever. And my wife shuffles up to me, and she's perfectly awake, of course. And she asks me a question from my post yesterday. And she goes, how can you make it a favorite album for your desert island? How can you do that? Because an album is really different than just an individual song. So yesterday's question still stands as far as an album. But what is the song, the one song? Because that's a critically different thing. I mentioned Dark Side of the Moon or Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and that's just me. I settled on Dark Side of the Moon because it has enough texture, but it still has a certain flow to it that resonates with me, even though I'm not as depressed as I was back then. However, my favorite song is Tim Story's Seventh Chance. If I had one song to stay with just for the rest of my life from today forward, it would be Tim Story's Seventh Chance. And I believe it's available online as far as listening to it on YouTube. But of course you can get it on iTunes as well. And I've emailed Tim back and forth for a few years, and he's a real approachable guy. He has a cat, and he sometimes lets his cat do his shipping and handling kind of thing. But he's a real, and he lives in, and I can't pronounce the town. It's like Maumee, Iowa. It's up north, and he does some local venues there. So now why are they different? Okay, because an album normally is thematic. Not always. I mean, it doesn't have to be high concept like Alan Parsons or Pink Floyd or something. But there's an age and a stage that artist is going through. Nirvana had theirs, and all artists have a certain resonance at a certain age. Springsteen is not the same kind of singer as he was back then as he is now, because he was more hungry back then. Now he's more established, and he really doesn't have to work that hard. If Springsteen never showed up in the music industry again, either by recording or by touring, he'd live just fine. But he likes doing what he does, as most artists do. So what is it that's really the critical difference? Again, an album is an overarching whole mood, where one song is normally just an idea. It's a individual concept, be it dance, be it sadness, be it motivation, whatever it is. That song is the one point that they normally don't have a whole lot of points that they put forward. There's a song that's fairly popular right now, recently. It's called Fear He Is a Liar. Love that song. What does it talk about? Fear, and how you shouldn't believe it. There was a song, 20 years ago that talked about, was it 20 years ago? I'm Not Who I Was. Talks about maturing and believing certain concepts about yourself, and how other people want to invest their or paste you with their ideas of who you are, and that may not be real at all. So there is a big change between an album concept, which is fine, but I want you to now sharpen that even to a fine point. What is that one song? I want you to put it in the credits, and then I also want you to tell me why. And it doesn't have to be high thought. Some of y'all are quaking about this, and my wife even private messaged me. She slept next to me last night, but she private messaged me on Facebook, telling me, should I do this, and what are you thinking? Well, how could you do this? And And when I read it, I'm looking at her at the table and I'm reading it, I'm going, why don't you just, and she did. She ended up bringing it back, bringing it up to me, but I was going, wow, come on. It's important to have a single thought that you can hang an idea from. It's important to have a single thought that you can hang an idea on. And you can reverse that. Have an idea you can hang a thought on. What does that mean? Every journey starts with one step. An album is not one step. An album is a journey in many ways. It's not the whole journey, but it is a large part of it. One song is a step on that journey. And depending on where you are in a journey, it could be the first step, or it could be a turn in that step. It could be a U-turn. It could be a trialful, a difficult step, or it could be a moment of awareness step. But whatever it is, that song has that place in your life to where you're going, yeah, this song always makes me feel. What is that? Songs often resonate. Older songs do. If you're a little bit older, you're going to have songs that you go, yeah, that song reminds me of doing this. Being with Martin and him driving while I'm hanging out the window, or being underneath the hood of his car, or reminds me when I'm hitchhiking when I was younger. It reminds me of when I was homeless, or when I was in a psych hospital, or when I did this, or when I had trouble with this, or when I met this person, when this person abandoned me, whatever it is. Memories lock in. So single songs can dig wounds, pick at them, or if you constantly you replant your garden, they can help you move forward. So constantly be on the look to fill your garden with songs that build you up and express you emotionally. As I mentioned before, it has to be like that rainbow concept. If you're suffering with depression, most people, their songs sound pretty dark, pretty sad. You need to have a broad variety of songs. And be it Katrina and the Waves, Walking on Sunshine, to Sarah McLachlan's Angel. All great songs and different concepts, different emotional impacts. What is your song? Put it in there. Put it in the comment section. Tell me why. And again, it can be, well, it just makes me dance, makes me feel good, or it reminds me of this moment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Okay? Other than that, I'm going to be taking the weekend off because I'll be out of town, and I'm going to go camping with my son. And when I get back, we'll pick this up. All right? Until then, thank you for your time. Catch me at ivorchester.com, as well as ivorchester3 on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll be in touch. Thank you. God bless. Goodbye.